Hi everyone, this is Alma coming to you from Huntington Beach, California. Today is Saturday, August 5th of the year 2023, and this is going to be FlossTube number 105. 105. So as always, I want to welcome you all. Welcome back to all my current viewers and subscribers, and thank you, as always, for your continuing support. And a special welcome to anybody that's visiting for the first time. I hope that you like what you see today. You find a reason to stay, subscribe, and continue to follow me on my stitching journey. I hope that everybody's doing well. I hope that everybody's staying safe and sound. Everything's okay here. I'm fully on vacation mode again and stitching as much as I can. Um, so yeah, we're trying to keep cool as well. We're still in the middle of a heat wave, and our apartment doesn't have AC. So it's been an adventure for sure. However, we are, we are enjoying our time here. We like the place very much. It's just, we have like a little mini cooler that we just bring around room to room to try to beat the heat. Um, but yeah, otherwise everything's good. I do have quite a bit to show you today. We're into August, so I am doing Arbitrary August and choosing a whip a day, pretty much, uh, just randomly. It's all the whips that I haven't gotten a chance to stitch at least 500 stitches this year. So yeah, so without further ado, let's get to the stitching. And I'll show you, before getting into the Arbitrary August stuff, I'll show you the stuff that I worked on like the last few days of July. Um, and then we'll go ahead and jump into arbitrary stuff. So first up, and then this isn't going to be in any particular order, but I continued working a little bit on my Heaven Earth Designs chart. This is T by Anna Dittman. It's a Benedict Cumberbatch as Sherlock Holmes. And this one, again, not too much progress, because I only had a handful of days left in the month of July. But I added a couple hundred stitches. I still worked on this section right here. I think it was just the one color that I added, or that I worked on. So, steady progress. I think I will put him away for a little bit, even though I do enjoy working on him. It's just, with the Arbitrary August in full, in uh, in full motion, I guess. I don't know. It's just hard to work on anything else. So yeah, this is where we're at with him. According to Pattern Keeper, I'm at 3.20%. So I did come up with an idea with how I want to do like the remainder of the year. Um, Especially considering that I won't be filming as much, I don't think I'll be bothered too much by it. But I do want to stitch going by, like, I'll grab a whip and then like, Pattern Keeper lets me see which color is being used the most, has the most stitches. So I'll grab a whip, do that color, um, and then move on to the next. So regardless, obviously there's going to be a few exceptions for like my bigger whips, like Reader's Paradise and stuff like that. But for the most part, I think that is how I'm going to move forward from now on. That way, not only will I be able to work on all my whips, but um, but I'll get significant progress in them. So the first one I'm gonna be doing that with is my oldest whip. This is Mini One from Heaven Earth Designs. Uh, Artwork is by Zindi Nielsen. And with this one, I did work on it a little bit more. Again, I think I added a couple hundred stitches. With this one, I already kind of started doing that. This is where we're at so far. the 200 stitches that I did were just over here in the same corner that I've been working on the last um, yeah, the last few times I picked her up. With this one, the most used color has 5,000 stitches, and it covers everything. Again, like Pattern Keeper lets me see where it's being used, and you're basically like once I finish that, you're going to see like her outline, her entire body outline. There's going to be some sand texture in there. So yeah, so I'll try to do that for my full coverage. Anything that I have on Pattern Keeper, basically. I think it's going to be a good way to get progress in. Next up, and we're gonna bleed into Arbitrary August, kind of, sort of. The the next whip that I worked on, I have to show you here. This is my focus. There we go. This is the Little Prince from Mandarin's Designs. Um, if you watched my previous videos, you'll see that, or you'll know that I've been working pretty diligently on this. I was very close to a finish, and I just said I'm not, I'm not going to put this down. Like the only time I will put this down is when I'm finished with it. So I did get a finish. I think on Monday or on Tuesday. I can't remember which. Uh, I think it may have been on the first. I'll have to take a look. But I did, so once I did spin and I worked on the which I'll show you in a little bit, but I worked on the whip that the wheel landed on. Once I hit those 500 stitches, I moved on to this. I was like, okay, I'm done with those 500 stitches. I did my due diligence. I'm gonna move on to something I want to work on. Um, and I did that for a couple of days until I got this finished. Um, I ended up just going ham with the French knots, but it just I just did them differently. Because between the half stitches and the light colors, some of those French knots you couldn't even see them. So I said I'm not going to, I'm not going to waste my time and effort doing something that isn't going to even show up. So I just added more French knots in the darker areas. And that's the other thing. Anything that was stitched in white, I just didn't do. I just left it blank. Figured it's fine. Everything is fine. Uh, that saved me some time. But yeah, everything else is stitched as is. So I did try again, because who likes doing French knots? Like French knots are just not my favorite stitch. Um, and Sarah from our Stitching Kingdom suggested doing beads instead. So I did some digging and I did find some petite um, Mill Hill petite beads that I thought could work because they were like kind of transparent. They weren't white, they were just more like silverish. So I thought they would do well for the stars, right? Unfortunately, I didn't have the right size needle for them. The only beading I've ever done is on my lilac evening piece, and for that one, the beads were significantly bigger than something like your Mill Hill glass beads. So so I do have to get some beading needles. Um, for that. So yeah, so since I didn't have the right size needles, I kind of didn't have any other choice but to do the French knots for this. But I think it still looks good. Um, I'm still happy with the result. And This may be my last finish for a while. I do want to finish my Mirabilia piece by the end of the year, but that won't come until, December. Um, so I don't think I'll have a finish before that. The only partial finish that I could potentially have is this one. This is my Disney villain piece from Zana Cross Stitch. And right now I'm working on the Ursula panel. Um, so this one I may be able to finish by the end of the year. I've got 8,000 stitches to go. I'll go ahead and show you. So now that I finished the little prince, this is the piece that I've been picking up whenever I hit those 5,000 stitches and I'm not exactly inspired to keep going. Because like 500 is 5,000. I said 5,000, didn't I? 500 stitches. 500 is like the minimum, right? If I feel inclined to keep going, then obviously I can do so. But if I don't feel inclined to do so, I am working on her. I've only added a couple hundred stitches. Yeah, I think it's 200. Yeah. My chart says I added 200 stitches. And I just, because by the time I hit those 500 stitches, it's already like 9, 10 o'clock at night. I don't feel like working on confetti stitches at that point, so I have been working color by color. So those 200 stitches were one color, one purple. I think it was 161 or something like that, which is like a bluish purple. But she's coming along well. So yeah, so hopefully she can still get some decent progress in. The next color, again going by most used to least used, the next color is a white. So again, if I do work on her, I'll try to make sure that I have plenty of light so that I'm not, killing my eyesight when I'm working on her. Okay, so that is kind of like the whips that I worked on the last few days of July. I do have the Arbitrary August, and I'll show you Arbitrary August whips, and I'll show them to you in the order that they were called, because I did keep track of that. First up was another one of my hates. This is June from Heaven and Earth Designs. Artwork is by Anna Dittman. Ironically enough, I was trying to go in order when I was trying to do the 500 stitches per whip, and this was the next one in line anyway. So I thought it was pretty cool that it was called first. It's like the universe was like, okay, let's keep going with this. There we go. This is what I have so far on her. The 500 stitches were all done in this. I'm gonna see if I can work backwards. It's over by where the needle minder is. Basically, I just kept going in that section, filling in that yellow. It's a very light yellow. So fortunately this one is pretty big as well, so even though I did add those 500 stitches, that still only put me at 4.1%. I went from 3.9 to 4.1. Woohoo! So yes, so still plenty more to go with this one. And yeah, so this one was one of the ones where I did stop at 500, because again, I was just eager to finish up the Little Prince. I think this one and the next one, if I remember correctly. August 2nd called for one of my Tilton Crafts pieces. This is Fractal Energy by Tilton Crafts. Artwork is by Nathan Smith over here in the corner. And for this one, let me see, my chart says that I did 584 stitches. Here. This is what we're at so far. The 584 stitches were all done in this section. I did finish up, there were a few confetti stitches that I wanted to take care of, so I did do those over here at the top corner, and then I just kept moving on with the blues. 820 is a favorite blue in here. It's used a lot. But yeah, this is a potential candidate for, you know, the mindless stitching, because I can work on that black section on the other side and just keep going with it. I am currently at, I think, 10% on this one. Oh no, 12.97%, so almost 13%. It's 100,000 stitches even. So it's pretty easy to figure out how much I'm at. But again, I'm pretty sure I was still working on the little prints on this one, so I didn't do too many stitches beyond the 500. I'll just put this here. August 3rd called for another Tilton Crafts chart. This is Till Death Do Us Part. Till Death Do Us Part. Artwork is by Daniel Kordek. And this one, it was actually kind of lucky that I did get this called. We had some construction going on in our apartment complex. They're going to repave the parking lot. So they told us all cars needed to be out, you know, outside of the lot, off the property. And even though they didn't explicitly say that we also needed to be out of the apartment, I kind of figured, okay, if they're repaving, we're gonna get, like, you know, jackhammering. We're just going to get a lot of construction noise. So, so I just made a day of it, and I spent it. Like, I went, you know, I took my time. I went to Starbucks in the morning, spent a couple hours there, and then I visited our local library, which is nice because that has AC. And I kind of just, you know, spent most of the day there, really. I left to, like, grab lunch real quick, but then I just came back. And then 5 o'clock was when we were allowed to come back. And sure enough, our parking spaces that are immediately next to our apartment, they were fixed, and I just knew, like, because it's been falling apart, like the gravel was just breaking up a lot. So when they said we're gonna be repaving, I just knew immediately that they were going to be right next to our apartment, which is why I wanted to go. Anyway, so it was nice that this was the one that was called that day, because I could just work on black again. It was something easy and simple that I could take with me. This is and this is the edge of the pattern right here. Work backwards, Alma. This is the edge of the pattern, so I finally reached both corners, and that's where my stitches went to. This one got 700 something stitches. 779 stitches specifically. But they were all here with the black, but I also did, I mean, you can't really tell, but I did 939 on those curly cues in the border. So again, I was glad to have that line up with the spinning of the wheel. And with this one, I am at 10.6%. So, good times, good stitching. With this one, I kept going more out of necessity. I think by this point, I had already finished. Uh, yeah, I'm pretty sure I had already finished The Little Prince. So so I finished it on the second, because I remember I was like, I did not want to bring it with me wherever I was gonna go the following day. So yeah, so that kind of that answered that question. I finished it on the second. Um, August 4th called for my Bella Filipina. This is Reina Paz. Is that as good as it's gonna get? Is it gonna focus more? There we go. There's not that much stitching on this compared to like the big, like fluffy dresses that you get in a lot of the Mirabilias. This little, mermaid tail dress or whatever they call it, it's not that bad. Um, so this one also got quite a bit of love. I did, enjoy myself when I was stitching it, so I kept going once I hit the 500 and ended up doing 700 stitches. This is one of the few that I am doing on um, dyed fabric. This is Belfast linen, 32 count Belfast linen called Jade from Picture This Plus. And most, if not all of the stitches were in that dark 823 blue. Although I did add some stitches at the top as well, so you can see the negative, with the negative space you can see where the hands are with the fingers. That was a pain in the butt. I had to redo those stitches a lot. I kept miscounting. But yeah, really enjoying this one. Um, Again, fairly easy stitching once I just chose one color. I think that's just how I'm going to do most, if not all, of these Arbitrary August pieces, is just choose one color and go, so that I can get a lot of stitches done in, in the day. Um, but yeah, I may bring this one back out again, um, sometime in the year, but we'll see. So that's that one. And then for today, I did spin last night. I try to spin the night before so that I can at least prep for the following day. Um, Sometimes, if I feel like I still have some energy left, I'll start putting in some stitches, but then it also depends on the whip. So for this one, for example, the next one that was called for today is July. This is another Heaven in It Designs by Anna Dittman. And this one, I was like, okay, no. Because for this one, I do have it in the Q-snap ready. I haven't stitched on it yet, but it's all like white-ish colors. I'm working on DMC 23 right now, and it's like the palest pink you could ever find. So I wasn't about to stitch on practically white on white at 11 o'clock at night. So I put it in the Q-snap, but then I said, okay, this is gonna wait until tomorrow. So yeah, so that's what's been called so far. Um, I don't think, yeah, besides Ursula, I don't think I'll be working on anything outside of the Arbitrary Arbitrary August pieces because, again, I am letting myself just keep going if I feel inspired to do so. So, for this month, I don't think I'll stitch on my Mirabilia on the portrait of Veronica. I may just leave that for September and do both August and September and just catch up that way. Because I am enjoying this. I'm enjoying the Arbitrary August a lot. I've always wanted to do it. I know a lot of people do it, and yeah, this is my first time doing something like this, so I'm thoroughly enjoying it. I'm enjoying the variety. I'm enjoying just like reconnecting with a lot of my whips. So yeah, so I think I'll just let myself pass on stitching on Veronica this month. But yeah, so that's all I have to show you today. I think I will do these videos weekly, since I will show at least 7 whips per video. I think that's plenty, um, as opposed to having to show 14. Like that would be insane. That would be absolutely insane. That would be a very long video. So yeah, so I will do these weekly. Um, And then, yeah, then as I mentioned in my previous video, I will take a break for school. Um, so you'll get me back to back, just all of all the weeks, and then nothing for a few months. But as I mentioned, if we do have like a holiday or a long weekend, I will try to record at that point. Um, so yeah, that's it. As always, if you have any questions about what you saw today, feel free to drop a comment. Um, And as always, I hope you guys have a relaxing weekend, a productive week, and you always find the time to do the thing that makes you happy. Until next time, ciao!